Hi everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing some experimenting with color palette. So this came from the last painting that I did, and I really loved this color palette, but I wanted to just kind of do some experimenting with it and switch it up a little. So I'm going to take out the purple and I'm going to throw in this Venetian red color instead. So I'll show you all the colors I have and we'll see how this goes. This might look like a hot mess, but that'll be all right. So I have, I'm using both of the Gansai Tambi sets. I have the Art Nouveau, which is where most of these come from. And that'll be the Venetian Red 403 is from this set. I have Alizarin Crimson 304, 17, which is Coral Pink. And then I also have Mars Yellow 402. And then from the 48 set, which I probably need to use a little more, is I have number 12, which is Rose Beige. And then I thought we'd pull out the gold. There's two golds on here, a bluish gold and gold, which is number 90. So that's the one I picked. Thought we'd play with that maybe. And then I might, throw in some mixed media stuff. And possibly, I got this new ink, FW De La Rowney, and it's a pearlescent. And I've never played with these pearl inks before. So we might give it a try. This might wind up looking like pink vomit. Pink puke on a page, but we will see. We will see. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little water to my wells over here and activate my paints. So I thought this would just kind of wind up being maybe like an analogous color palette, be pinks and orangey peaches and maybe a little red orange. So hopefully that'll turn out good. And then the paper that I've got today, this has been taped on my board for a while. I think, ooh, sorry about that. I think that it's Canson, just a cheapy paper, but I didn't feel like pulling it off. So I've got a couple of crumbs to get rid of. All right. And then I am just going to start with a big brush using my Aqua Elite Princeton quill brush. I had to put a little piece of tape on there. That piece of that wire kept poking my finger. All right. And a lot of times I just like to start with the my lighter shades. And then for this peach color, this one is actually these two colors mixed together, which is the, well, what was that called? Rose Beige. And then the Titan Yellow. Titan Yellow? Titan Mars Yellow. I think I'm getting name brands of paints mixed up. That's pretty orange. I think I want to tone that down just a bit. Put a little more of that. There we go. That's looking a little better. All right, well, since it's on my brush, we'll just start with that. I don't necessarily have anything in mind as far as composition, but I just thought we would check out this color palette. Got dry paper, wet on dry. Sorry, you may hear my little pup. She is, bless her heart, she's getting elderly, and she is having some confusion trouble, and she gets in these little moments that she gets confused and she starts pacing. I feel so bad for her, but we've been trying some doggy CBD, which seems to help some, but you know, they're like your kids. You hate to see anything, hate to see them struggle. All right, let's get some of this alizarin. Like, this has got to be one of my most favorite, oh yes, favorite colors in that Art Nouveau palette. I like to play with these paints, making them thick and then thin, more translucent, you know, and letting them mix together. Especially, that's so fun to do with an analogous color palette because you don't have to worry about mud. Everything should mix pretty well. All right, let's see. I do want it a touch more. Oh, yes. Oh, there she goes again. Poor little thing. I heard it like last night. She would get on the couch and off the couch. Like she hadn't been still for a minute. And then she'd go right back to pacing. What are you doing, Bella? So here is this Venetian red. Kind of see if we can let it mingle a bit. And it's kind of a brown red. Oh, we're going to get some pretty blooms in there. Yay. It's a really pretty color. Get some in here. Of course, like I said, I think this is Canson paper, which is not, you know, it's a student grade paper, which there's nothing wrong with that, but we would probably get more amazing results on a cotton like that Bao Hong that I like to use sometimes. Oh, this is nice. This is just the plain rose beige color. I'm just kind of letting everything move into it, kind of blend in it. I just think it's so fun to work like this because that's really the magic of watercolor. I really enjoy it because it has a mind of its own. And then it kind of keeps me from uh, I don't know, trying to control it too much, maybe. Look at that. That is gorgeous. Love that. Okay, so I'm gonna try not to mess with that part. Um, all right, something else. I'm gonna go ahead and just fill up the whole page there. I'll probably wind up cutting this down. And then might get out either an ink tint, pencil. Something like that. Put a little more liquid in here. If we kind of get that to react a little bit. Ooh, that paper is buckling. Let's see if I can get rid of that little hard edge. Okay. Now, all right. So should we add some gold in this? I think we should, since we're experimenting. Do we? I have a mouse in my pocket. All right. Let's put. See, I'm painting with y'all. That's why I say we. I need a little studio buddy, studio pal. And actually, I have an idea for something. Y'all are going to get a kick out of this. So stay tuned because I do have a new little visitor coming. Oh, no, this is going to be neat. Just going to let that flow through a few. Oh, looky there. That's pretty. That's the thing about the gold ones. You do have to kind of let them sit a minute. Yes, much better. And then we'll see what happens to that. Hmm. Oh, some of this looks so good. I'm in love with this. Like I'm messing with it. Okay, not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. All right, I don't want to overdo the gold either, but just want a little, here and there. Okay, no more, no more. Except for what's in my brush. Okay. All right, oh, this is going to be really cool. Before it dries, I might want to put a little bit of an Inktense pencil in there like I was doing. I don't know if y'all saw the video where I used sandpaper in my Inktense pencil. I have this red oxide. That's pretty red. Let's do just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just scratch it on there into the wet, and then it will activate, and it's just like little sprinkles. Now, the only thing is, if it's not very wet, then it just kind of stays, you know, it's like dust or something. So I found it works better if you do make sure that it's wet. Oh no, this is really cool. In that paint right there. And you can do this with watercolor pencils, any kind of water-soluble media. Look at that. That is going to be fun. Okay, and then I did want to use my ink. I think what I'm going to do, because I really wanted it to drop it into a wet spot. So I think I'm going to just kind of experiment up here maybe and put some water. Let's do this. Put a little bit of water up here. And then this kind, you got to shake it up pretty good. Otherwise you're going to have, and I'm just going to use a little. Oh, look at that. It's just going to run in that water. I may add a little more water to it. All right, not too much. We've already got quite a bit of pink on this page. Let's see. Just a little more water to that. And I may need to kind of tilt. Just a little tilt here. Oh, wait a minute. I'm tilting this other wet stuff too. Look at that. You can see all those little, let me bring this up. Can y'all see all these little speckles of that Inktense in there? That is really cool. All right, I'm going to let this run a little bit. Oh, that is so cool. Okay. And because my paper is buckling, I don't think that that's really going to move where I want it to. Let me see if I can move it. Oh no, that's pretty. Now it's going. That's really pretty. I should have probably got to that, put the ink in when it was a little more wet. And I think I'm going to add a little more water. There we go. Where that Inktense is, just to kind of activate it. I think it was too dry. That's a pretty color. Where's my paper towel? An old one. Kind of move that around a little. That is really going to leave a cool effect when it dries, I think. Now it's going to start running that way. Now I kind of wish that I had used a better paper. I'll have to experiment some more. See if I can get rid of some of those edges there. But once you start kind of messing with stuff, that's when things turn out like you don't want them. So, or at least they do for me. So I am going to let this dry, and then we'll come back and see what it looks like. Okay, it's all dry. I have to be honest, I don't love it. I don't know. It's just not calling to me. I think maybe we have too many light and mid-tones, not enough contrast. So at the point that you get something that you don't love, like you can't tear it up, right? So just go for it. Um, so I've got this funny little tool that I made, and it's just like a bunch of twine uh, wrapped up and like a tassel, and it's I put a wire handle on it. And you can see it's been used with other colors, but I'm just going to take that and kind of dip that into this activated paint. I want this dark color. We're just going to see if we can get some, oh, that's cool, some good mark making going on here. Yeah, that makes interesting little shapes. Let me wet it just a little more. See, I'm kind of afraid to wet it, just because I feel like it'll get like soft and floppy and then it won't work so good. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, I like that. That's pretty cool. Okay. I hadn't used this thing in forever. That definitely gives some contrast. It does tend to slide a little bit. Okay, well that's interesting. And see, then the lighter, I mean, when I dipped it in there, it with the more dilute paint, of course, it came out lighter. So hopefully that'll stay that dark. I like that. All right, so that was, let me go a little more in there. Okay. Now, I'm just playing up here. I just want to see what this does. See, that would be good for like the centers of flowers. Just fun to get all kinds of organic marks. All right. And then I've got this other little guy. I use him a lot too. And it's just some yarn that I do the same thing with. You get some really cool effects out of those things that you really can't get like with a brush or anything else. All right. I'm thinking we might need some stencil work. Let me see what I got here. Okay. I've got this stencil from Sean Petit. It's called Abstract Leaves 1. And I think this needs to kind of be broken up maybe with something lighter. So I'm going to attempt to stencil this leaf pattern with some white. And I've got these little dauber bottles that I just mixed acrylic and then thinned it down with water. And I'm going to try to use, I haven't used them through a stencil yet, so we'll see what kind of mess this makes. But they're great little circle patterns. So if you just want to go through and dots like a bingo dauber. Now this is actually working okay. I'm not squeezing it. It is picking a little bit of the color up, but it's not too bad. All right, shall we check it? Okay, well, that's not terrible. Then we could go over that with a Posca pen, acrylic marker, and make it not look like a stencil. Just kind of connect these little pieces here. Should probably wait for this to dry. I think we need a different, I think we need to add a little color somewhere. Now that might be okay. Let's try to turn this. If we did something like that, that's actually kind of cool. Okay, so we need a little more mark making. Like we need a different color, I think. Maybe a little pop of green or brown, something like that. Yeah, and that might turn out pretty good. All right, one sec. Okay, so what I'm thinking is I am going to add just a little more of these vines because I think I'm liking this vertical. Let's do this one more time. And then I'll just go through like I did the other one with that Posca pen and connect all the lines. So it doesn't look so much like a stencil. Oop, that one I think got too much. It's okay. All right. So we have that. I'm gonna go over this like I did that one with the Posca, and I'll be right back, and we'll take it from there. Okay. So I got that dry. I just went in with my Posca pen, filled in a couple of random leaves just for fun. And then, so looking at it like this, I don't love it. And I was starting to think, okay, well, I do like this orientation, and maybe I would do something like this, but it really was not, it's just not calling me. It's pretty busy, and when I have something that I think is pretty busy, I find it helpful to cut it down. And let's see, I made some marks on here. I was playing with it. And I found this little spot and I really like that. Kind of got this floral element going, or botanical, and it's, not in the middle this way. It's kind of off to the side, which is how I like to do my compositions, and it's running off the page, which I like. And then it's kind of softer toward the edge. I was like, okay, well, this is good. And then if I can find some little something down here, we can have sister paintings. We can have a little series. So I thought maybe something in here. I thought those would look really good together. So I think we're just going to cut it. And so I just go through, and I didn't really mark anything down here. I put a line, marked a line where I thought I'd be safe cutting it. So we're just going to cut it in half and go from there and see if we can see if it needs any more embellishments. And I'm not too worried if my paper tears on this, because I'm probably not going to be using those edge pieces. So I'm not really sure how I feel about this, changing the color palette like I did. You always have to experiment and see, because you don't know until you try something if you're going to like it or not. And I'm just not, I think if it had been a little more of a orangey red or something, that I would have liked them, liked them all together better. But, and then of course the purple I think was really pretty on the other one as well. All right, so I'm going to cut this in half. And I got some questions the other day about my paper trimmer. This one is by Martha Stewart. And I don't know. I tried to find one to link on Amazon. I'm not sure that they're making these anymore. It's got the little slide out edge here, slide out ruler. And most of the ones you see now have the flip out one up at the top. So there's that, just in case you were wondering. And I guess I better not put it away, because now I like to cut a little bit bigger than what I think I'm going to need just for framing purposes. Unless I'm for sure going to mount it to a wooden panel, then I leave extra room. That's cute. We can always find stuff to do with those extra pieces. Let's see, I'm trying to remember how I had that. Let's get out our little frame here. So we kind of had it like this. Yeah, I think that looks really nice. And I like this little gold back in here. So I don't know. I think maybe it needs a couple little gold accents to set it off. And then I think that one's done. Okay, I just went ahead and cut these out. And they're pretty small. They're going to wind up being 4x4. And um, I think they turned out really cute. But I think what I want to do is add a little bit of white, maybe some white spots, dots um, over here. So this white is not all alone. And uh, you can use Posca, Neocolors. You could use whatever you want. I am liking these oil pastels gallery from Mungio. So I think, because I really wanted them to be pretty opaque, so I'm going to use this. The only thing is that it does require you to use a fixative, or they'll be smearing everywhere. And I'll show you in just a minute uh, which one I use. Let's see, there's 3. Not quite as thick as I was expecting. Okay, I like that. Just a little something over there to kind of balance it. And then this one, I don't like that quite so much. So I'm going to kind of cover it up. That's what I like to do, is if they're use my embellishments to maybe hide some little things that are not my favorite. You know, always usually work in odd numbers, but there is no rules, so you guys feel free to do what you like. Yeah, my kind of tempted to put a couple more little small bits in. Okay, that looks pretty good. I like that. All right, so this is the fixative I use. It's Spectrafix, and I like this because you can use it indoors. It's odor-free, made out of natural products. It's actually made from milk protein. Now, a lot of people will say, like, especially if you read the reviews, people will say, well, I don't like that because it doesn't work. Well, the best way I have found to use this is you have to get a little ways from your paper. So you want to be a good 6-9 inches or so away from your paper. And when you spray it, you just want like a light mist. And you're going to have to repeat that a few times. So a lot of people just do, a couple sprays and they say, oh, it didn't work. Well, that's because it didn't get coated good. So you'll just, as a matter of fact, I'll do a little bit right here. Got to shake it up good. I'm going to move my board here. So I don't get fixative all over my board. But, I mean, since you're not having to go outside in the cold or the heat, then you can just repeat it as many times as you need to. So I probably went a little heavy-handed, like right there in that corner, but this will dry, and then I'll go over it with several more layers. But I can put that to the side, work on some other stuff, and then you'll see when this is dry that it doesn't react or make anything look funny. Just make sure that your first coat is pretty thin, and then you can get a little bit heavier on your second, third, and however many coats you need. But anyway, okay, I'll post some the pictures here in just a second. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed and that you got a little inspiration for a project for you. And thank you guys so much for all the likes and subscribes. I sure appreciate it. And I will see you on the next one. Bye, y'all.